From Chicago to Boston, Midwest to the East Coast, and this island in the Caribbean known as Puerto Rico is why the bars are lethal. Got me going beast mode in this game called life. You better know some cheat codes. Il Divino's back, someone let the streets know. 6 shots for the folks and 5 shots for my peoples. I think it's high time we all have a sit down. Can we all agree the game is gone to shit now? Like the fall of Rome, the death of Romulus, history repeating itself if you know it's obvious. If you had your head inside of a book instead of binoculars, you'd be able to see without a pair of binoculars. Our tax dollars being spent towards the damn omnibus, but the rich stay rich, commoners remain commoners. The tentacles and everything like a damn octopus. Mass media, mass hysteria, how they control the populace. Cash rules everything around me, and on every dollar bill it's printed in God we trust. Yeah, everyone lives in fear around me. The truth will set you free. Quick shout out to Elon Musk. Cash rules everything around me, and on every dollar bill it's printed in God we trust. Yeah, everyone lives in fear around me. The truth will set you free. Quick shout out to Elon Musk. Living in this shy, can't let them catch me snoozing. Dudes be shooting just for the amusement. I refuse to be a victim, never be a loser. When your city is a war zone, who gives a fuck about Putin? And there ain't nothing safe about the Safety Act. There's more safety in being strapped. They should choose, you shoot back. Those odds are better than getting caught laying on your back. Don't believe me, check the stats, I'm just bringing you the facts. With my hand on the Bible, I swear to rap the truth. Almighty God, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. My people perish for lack of knowledge. My knowledge I share with you. There's nothing we can't accomplish. One head ain't better than two. That's the purpose of a democratic republic. Discussion on every subject, in truth, logic, and reason, till we reach an agreement. A nation under God is how the states united. Got out of the picture, look how gradually we divided. Cash rules everything around me, and on every dollar bill it's printed in God we trust. Yeah, everyone lives in fear around me. The truth will set you free. Quick shout out to Elon Musk. Cash rules everything around me, and on every dollar bill it's printed in God we trust. Yeah, everyone lives in fear around me. The truth will set you free. Quick shout out to Elon Musk.
Arrogance is the primary ingredient that will make you assume you can take action without God. Arrogance. That's actually what it is. You think you got this and you know more than God. That's why your drift turns into a drum.
Thank God for this day. Hey, you're not promised tomorrow. Realize your life is borrowed, so say what you gotta say. Hey, get it all off your chest. Nothing more, nothing less. Isn't that what Twitter's for? Clout. And all these other platforms. Followers who has more. You have found your reward. Matter of fact, engage some more, and for sure you'll find yourself in these social media wars. Oh Lord, let's talk about it. You be about it, I be about it. So relying on social media, how would you be without it? Non-existent, your entire system would just be a flop if you don't listen and got no vision. How could you reach the top? Twitter fingers like a ninja, stay mass, move fast, you would know who hit ya. Cut you and split ya, causing division, moving on in you like a temporal pincer. Trying to paint the perfect picture, right lyrics like the holy scriptures. Even profound, you're feeling me now. After hearing the sound, you're hearing me now. Coming for the facts, now lose track, got me think that this couldn't be more crazy. If I take it back to the very act, you were talking smack when you actually thought you played me. Tell me who's true, there's only a few. Keep me in tune while seeking the truth. Salute to the crew, I'm paying my dues. Be sure to give credit where credit is due. Thank God for this day. Hey, you're not promised tomorrow. Realize your life is borrowed, so say what you gotta say. Hey, get it all off your chest. Nothing more, nothing less. Isn't that what Twitter's for? Clout. And all these other platforms. Followers who has more. You have found your reward. Matter of fact, engage some more, and for sure you'll find yourself in these social media wars. Oh Lord.
Media is just like syphilis, wholesome wickedness, tearing folks down who bore witness to the passions of the movies that they love, to the director who rose up above the hatred, the jealousy of those who was friendly, who turned into some of the worst of our enemies. A disgrace when your smiles in our face, doing that for only the clout that you chase. It's too late. Fruit of your labor was laced with a poison that most of you clowns couldn't taste. We know who you are, so fake the funk if you want. Make all your videos, cause we know you're a chump. You try to divide, but we was wise to your lies. We testify that you were snakes in disguise. And don't depend on those little simps on your side. They only live off the drama you provide.
Thank God for this day. Hey, you're not promised tomorrow. Realize your life is borrowed, so say what you gotta say. Hey, get it all off your chest. Nothing more, nothing less. Isn't that what Twitter's for? Clout. In all these other platforms, followers who has more. You have found your reward. Matter of fact, engage some more, and for sure you'll find yourself in these social media wars. Who would've thought there'd ever be a Muslim-Christian connection? Welcome to America, this ain't the kingdom of heaven. Two brethren with reverence to the Most High, keeping them strengthened. Counting our blessings in a time where there's division and tension. From the streets to these tweets, the people keep on wildin'. Violence keeps on rising in every single environment. So I pray for God's love to pour out and assalamu alaikum. But take my kindness for weakness, then you're sadly mistaken. I'm just like David, fighting off wars, bears.
We going up, shit going down. We lighting them up, you best hit the ground. Shooting them up, one after round. When there's blood in the air, you better not dare to come around town. Father, please forgive me, have mercy on my soul. Fools keep trying to test me and I will never fold. It's the way that Wendy raised me, the city of the gold. Load them up and let them go, load them up and let them go, load them up and let them fly.
Ooh. Load them up and let them go. Good, better, best. Never let it rest. Till your good gets better and your better gets best. Let's go, Bears. Come on now. The Bears is in the building. Yo, I've been meaning to talk about this for a minute, obviously since Friday's game against the Eagles. I think a defining moment for the Bears. Before we get into that, let me just nip the obvious in the bud, and that's that usually I go live Tuesday nights or Tuesday evenings, I should say. But life be life, and so we had some things happen. Got a lot of things going on, whether it's work, home, stuff like that, whatever the case may be. Honestly, I wasn't even sure if I was going to go live this morning, but or afternoon, I should say. But I figured, why not? Let's just get it out already. There's plenty of things to talk about, but I'm going to try and stay focused on just the main things that got my attention. Obviously, those of you that obviously tune into the Chop Shop, you already know what it is. We discuss anything and everything from sports to movies to music to politics to culture to religion, whatever the case may be. Nothing's off the table. But for this specific live, this specific session, this specific stream, I'm going to just try and stay focused on a few things that really got my attention that really, I think, revolve around the title of the episode or this live stream, which is Good, Better, Best. Because honestly, with this news that we're going to discuss, it's either those three, whether it's good, whether it's gotten better, whether it's like the best thing we can ask for, whatever the case may be. Obviously, just to start off, as a Chicago fan, the Bears, man, the Bears are on fire. We should be 10-2 right now. We should be 10-2. I still don't know what happened against the Ravens, but it is what it is. We're still 9-3. We're still the best team right now. Technically, statistically, well, maybe I think we're tied with someone else with our record on the NFC side of things. Yeah, we're tied with Seattle, I think the Chargers. But anyways, I just know right now, playoffs, we are in the playoffs. As of right now, we're in the playoffs. As of right now, we are the number one seed on the NFC side of things. Quick shout out to even the Patriots. For those of you who know, I am Boston fan as much as I am Chicago fan. I was born in Boston. I got family in Boston. I got an affinity for Boston. So I still root for those guys. But obviously, I was raised in Chicago. Chicago's my city. I live in Chicago still. So obviously, whenever our teams do well here, we're ecstatic. We're on fire. We're celebrating. It's a party. 9-3 right now. So I mean, all that to say that right now I'm feeling good. My Boston team is number one seed in the AFC. My Chicago team is number one seed in the NFC so far. God willing, it remains this way. hopefully these boys keep bringing their A game because that's what it looks like they're doing so far. If there was any doubts about Caleb Williams, I mean, it's not to say that he's like the best, but man, he's on fire, and I think he's only going to get better. Ben Johnson obviously is a big attribution to what's happening right now in Chicago with the Bears. Coaching matters; it just does matter, and obviously players do too, right? So it's like, but right now, I think with this coach and the team we're looking at, it's only looking better from here going forward. We need to beat the Packers this next coming Sunday. I think we can do it. I think this, if there's any team to do it, I think it's this Bears team. I can't even remember the last time we won against the Packers, which is a much needed victory, not just to keep the momentum going. That's probably the more important thing here. But if you know, you know, and Chicago, you know, the Bears, the Packers, it's a rivalry, the oldest time. And so we really need that W even just for that. So that's looking good. Again, when you're looking at just how it's looking right now, I'll be honest, this has actually been a surprising season for anybody who's into the watching the NFL right now. I mean, who would have thought the Chiefs would be 6-6 right now, as well as the Ravens. It's shocking to see for sure. But again, just this W against the Eagles this past week. What a great victory for the Bears. So let's clap it up for the Bears. Let's clap it up for Ben Johnson. Matter of fact, I want to play a little something because this right here honestly sets the tone for the rest of what we're going to discuss. So just give me a moment here to set this up because this is for sure necessary. So here we go.
I know you guys are hungry for more, right? Let me tell you something. The city of Chicago is hungry too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Oh, that's the vibe. That's the vibe right now. That's the vibe right now. Let's go. You better best. Never let it rest. You do this better. You better get best. Let's go. That's the energy. All right. That's the energy going forward. That's the energy. And not just for this Bears discussion, even for these other topics I'm bringing forward, right? It just gets better. It just gets better. No matter how you slice this, it's the good, better, best analogy. This whole it just fits perfectly with the Bears for sure because again, we knew going in the beginning of the season, all right, we're looking at something good. And as the season progressed, it's just getting better. And right now, as it stands in the NFC, we are the best. Like, and it's again, on paper, like it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. If I'm be honest, right? Like, obviously, like there's other teams in the NFC that you should be like the top dogs, right? I mean, Chargers are doing their thing, so that's warranted. Same thing with the 49ers, San Francisco, Tampa Bay, whatever. That's been a thing, whatever. Green Bay, though, again, we got the NFC is looking strong still, regardless. But again, the fact that we're up there, it's again, and we're only going to get better. So that's good to see. But now, hold on. Matter of fact, actually, I forgot I was supposed to be using these things. So that's that, right? Hashtag the Bears. Get excited, folks, especially if you're from Chicago. Good, better, best. Like, let that be your motto going forward in anything and everything you do in life. And that's that. But with that being said, it only gets better, or the good, better, best montage or mantra, I think also applies to this. Anybody who's paying attention to this, I mean, knows that this is exactly that. I obviously talked about it a little bit in the last Chop Shop last week with the homie Slick that was on here with me. We discussed it a bit. I had a probably more thorough conversation with Sil about this on his platform, which is the Sil Abdul podcast. And obviously we go back and forth on a few things. Since then, a lot has changed. Things are moving quickly with this whole sale thing. And definitely worth talking about. And again, it's nothing but just good, better, or the best news you could like ask for when it comes revolving this sale with Warner Brothers. As of yet, there's no decision made just yet. I want to say on what was it? The first was like the second round of like bids that were sent out, from what I understand. But the decision hasn't been made. I think as of right now, Warner Brothers can either decide to like, pick a specific bidder now for like exclusive negotiations, whether it's the top three that we discussed last time, which was Paramount, Skydance, Netflix, or Comcast, NBC. So they can either choose that or choose like, hey, you know what? We'll offer you guys another round of your best bid, something like that, call for that, to my understanding, or just even, call even more people to the table, because that I want to say that's still in the air, right? Like if they don't decide on anything between these, the most, I guess, the top three competitors right now for Warner Brothers, anything could happen at this point, I guess. But as it stands, from what I understood, I was looking at who's like, I guess, what is it looking like now? Like after the last bid, Paramount Skydance is still pushing strong. They got an all cash bid, it looked like, to buy Warner Brothers, but the entirety of it, right? They're not just asking for the portion of it, which is interesting enough because the portion, as far as like what Netflix and Comcast are bidding for, it's interesting enough because it's, from my understanding, if they choose not to sell, their plans is to split the company anyways, and it seems like the split is essentially what Comcast and Netflix are bidding for, which is like, we just want to acquire Warner Brothers Studios, right? Which includes the studio aspect of it and the streaming aspect of it. But Paramount, they want to buy the entirety. Like, give us Warner Brothers Discovery as a whole, right? Like before you guys split into two different factions, whatever, or two different companies, whatever. So all cash bid to buy all of WBD, which includes the cable networks like CNN, TBS, and others, backed by Ellison family money, plus partners like Apollo and Middle Eastern sovereign funds. So again, when I look at that, that to me is like the strongest. That is the strongest bid. Like there's just, it's there's no denying that. But interestingly enough, in another article, it shows that, which I think it was I saw in the Wall Street Journal, it says Netflix has submitted a mostly cash bid focused on Warner Brothers Studios plus HBO Max / streaming, excluding the linear TV networks, again, which is what I just said. And it says, and is reportedly the favorite offer WBD is warming to right now. So that says something, you know what I mean? Again, which when I talked to Sil, I did say the interesting part about what Netflix and Comcast are offering is that it seems like it appeals more to the plan that David Zaslav already had, so it wouldn't, I guess it shouldn't surprise anybody if, for whatever reason, I guess it is surprising to a certain extent. Let me not say that it shouldn't surprise anybody. I guess what I'm saying there is that it would be surprising that they're not going to go for a whole, like, clean my hands off of what I have and here you go, like, just take the entire thing. Because to my understanding from what I read is that when they split, uh, the Discovery's part, which is cable TV and all that stuff from the cable networks, that's where most of the debt lies. So it would seem like the interest should be in just getting rid of both of them, right? Like, and getting rid of the debt side of things, where like if you're just interested in selling that, which the side of the company that really doesn't hold the debt as much, or probably doesn't have any at all. I'm not that deep into the weeds of things, but from what I understood, it would seem awkward that would be the move, but yet nonetheless, that was the intentions from the jump, in the sense of, like, again, before the selling and the bid war started, the talks of them splitting was already in the talks, right? Come 2026, the move is to split Warner Brothers studio / streaming into one aspect, and then Discovery / cable networks, TV, and all that in another, and then it's two different things, which would make for easier acquisitions, or easier, I guess you could say, bids from even other companies. So that would be an interesting move also to see. But as of right now, again, none of what I'm saying matters really. Like, it's all good news, right? Like, in the sense, right? I think we all can agree, like, we want someone new to run things in Warner Brothers, especially for us DC fans. That and I say that, and obviously there's supposedly other DC fans out there that actually are, I guess, okay with what DC's doing. And if that's you, hey, power to you, man. I just know that for a lot of us, including myself, and DC fans that I talk to, it's not for us what's going on right now, and we'd rather see course correction, a specific direction, obviously, but course correction nonetheless. And then again, I saw, to also even touch, Comcast is targeting a similar slice, again, like Netflix, coordinating that with its own cable spinoff plans, which is Versant, to ease antitrust issues. So that's that. Let's see, what else did I see? Timeline. Let's see, WBD. So this is the thing. They have to I guess the idea is to have this whole thing end by the end of December. So we're coming close, guys. I know December just started, but we're coming close to the decision. And I think, to me, again, that's why it only gets better. It's like good, better, best. However you view this, it's all good news, really. But either way it goes, I guess what I will touch on is this. Let me touch on this, because I am kind of, I guess you could say, off-put or thrown off by the idea that there's this, I don't know, it seems to be like I don't know. Like, you know what? The social media wars, you know what I mean? They just don't stop, man. And it's funny to just see people's behavior, I guess, or even attitude online, in the sense of, like, I don't know, it just seems like there's somewhat of an importance of being right. And for me, it's like none of that matters. None of it really matters. You know what I'm saying? All that really matters is that if Warner Brothers is to be sold, and that when it's sold, course correction happens, right? And when I say that, let me specifically just refer to DC here, right? Because I'd be remiss to make it seem as if, like, Warner Brothers has been dropping the ball. Like, as far as I'm concerned, who was it? Paul Abdi, or those two people that again, I'm not deep into the weeds with this, but Abdi and whatever that those two people, right now their names are eluding me. Mike, is it Michael something, or I don't know. Either way, Warner Brothers has had victories, right? As far as, like, other movies are concerned, other genres, other IPs, whatever, right? You look at their success with Minecraft movie, Barbie, Sinners, there's a few others, right? Like it's actually eluding me right now, and it shouldn't be. But all that to say that Warner Brothers has a lot to offer is my whole point, right? They've had some pretty big swings and good swings at that, and it can't go unnoticed is what I'm trying to get at. So that's that. So when I say course correction, I'm really not referring to the overall aspect of Warner Brothers. It's specifically DC. I think we can all agree. Here's a fact. Maybe you like the new Superman, and if that's where you stand, again, power to you. And maybe you like what you see James Gunn doing. But like, here's the reality. That Superman film, for being the launch of a new universe, wasn't the greatest launch. Considering that, you know, after its release, like who's really talking about it anymore? You know, it doesn't have the same I guess you could say momentum, energy that Rose other people that other films have done, like as far as like animating a fan base and getting people excited for the next thing. You know what I mean? That's one aspect. And the reality is for whatever profits it did make, actually, maybe I should look at that before I keep dogging it. But let's see. Hopefully I can keep that last thread. Let's see. Was Superman 2025 profitable? You know, because the last time I checked, they were still under, right? There was that article that came out that kind of shed light into that, right? How that works. Okay, so it says yes, James Gunn Superman ended up profitable overall, though not a mega blockbuster on the scale of the very top superhero hits. Okay, let's see. Profitable estimates. Trade and Business reporting later estimated that after theater cuts and costs, the film generated on the order of $100 million in theatrical profit, with total profit, including streaming, profitable in the roughly 100 150 million range. Some analytics argue the movie might have been close to break even or so. Okay, unfortunately, there's no certainty, or there's room for skepticism. It looks like, which again, still not a good thing. Not a good thing. And here's the thing: like again, hate it or love it, you know, the reality is objectively, for all this hype that was built around it, you know, it's a Superman film that actually, not even just, it was actually an ensemble film. It has other characters. You're building this new universe, you know, and it didn't, not only did it not do phenomenal numbers, but if we're going to be honest, the hype, there's no hype behind it. Not that I care for it, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is me speaking objectively, just to clarify. Personally, in my opinion, like, not that I cared for it, right? Like, in the end of the day, I was never excited about James Gunn directing a Superman film. I knew that it was going to be this, you know, what we got, and I was not disappointed in the sense of like what my expectations were being met. They were met, right? Like as far as how bad I thought the film was going to be, considering everything else he's kind of touched. Again, I'm talking just about Superman, but even if we look at Peacemaker, you know what I'm saying? Like I know people that like Peacemaker, but here's the irony in this. I knew way more people that were like, into the Arrowverse than Peacemaker, right? Like I knew more people that were discussing things that were happening in the Arrowverse on the CW than what's happening on HBO Max with Peacemaker. Okay, uh, um, the reality is people are still watching, uh, like Batman the animated series, Justice League animated series, Superman the animated series, the whole New 52 animated movie run type movies that came out. I know people that are still watching that way before they're watching even Creature Commandos. Um, and, and then what? And then Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad. Again, it came, it went, it's gone. What do we have to show for here in this new DC that Gunn is trying to build? Nothing is my whole point. The only thing right now that DC really got running for, in my opinion, from and I would say the number speaks for itself. The hype around it spoke for itself. The anticipation for it speaks for itself. And I think the awards it even won speaks for itself. If I'm correct, if not even awards, it was at least it was like nominated. If I'm correct, I want to say they even got awards, but it was the Penguin, which is the Matt Reeves aspect universe of DC, and that's that. You know what I'm saying? So the reality is that there's more buzz around an entire different Elseworlds universe right now that at the very least Gunn has allowed to exist, right? And within DC Studios. While meanwhile, the main continuity of what he's trying to create, it doesn't have the same anticipation, excitement, buzz around it. And people can make their arguments, oh, because it's not Batman. Batman's, everybody likes Batman. Like sure, there's like a slight truth to that, but the reality is like you can't deny that the Penguin was just a good show, and for better or for worse, it in a sense alleviates or excuses the maybe where the Batman movie may have fallen short, right? For some people, I know for me myself, I rewatched the Batman, and I still have my gripes against it, right? About how I feel about what they did with Batman and Bruce Wayne in that movie. But at the very least, now I'm a bit more anticipating it now because of the Penguin show, like what that universe I mean, again, when I watched the Batman, I liked the tone of the film. I thought it was I thought everything in it was actually probably better than everything in it was good except for Batman and Bruce Wayne in it, or at least the way they had Robert Pattinson portray it. It's not a thing against Robert Pattinson. I know he's a good actor. But it's just the way they had him play the character. I personally didn't like it, and not that there's things to like. I guess excuse for it, but at the same time, I can at least say it's not my cup of tea. When it comes to that Batman. But other than that, watching the Penguin, like literally back to back from after watching the Batman, it has me. Okay, I like what they're doing here. At the very least, and I'm kind of. That's the only thing I'm interested in, like to see where that goes. And granted, like, does that mean I don't want Ben Affleck back as Batman? No, if I had it my way, Ben Affleck would already be back. Jack would already be back. That whole you guys already should know where I stand with that. We'll get into that actually, but all that to say that as far as DC is concerned, in my opinion, there's only one thing that it's staying afloat, and that's the Matt Reeves Batman universe, Gotham universe. I don't know what to call it, that he's working on. Other than that, again, Peacemaker, Creature Commandos, the Suicide Squad, Superman, none of that has anything more to it than just what I believe we're just look. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think there's only a handful, or not a handful. The only people that are on board with what's happening there, I believe, one or two things. One, you're just a diehard James Gunn fan for whatever reason, And I say that because honestly, again, if you watch what I said on Sill's podcast, and I've said it before, even on this podcast, and that's that uh, James Gunn really hasn't done anything that impressive outside of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And then the reality with that is that that stands on the shoulders of a movie cinematic universe that already set itself in the that was already set, and it was already probably more than likely if not at its peak already. Um, and and that's what it stands on. So it's like it's hard to really even give him the flowers for that, because it's like, well, was this really all you, or was it just you came in at the right time, right place, right time? And to my understanding, it still put me on game too, is that even the writer for the film, who actually put that whole thing together, was not even really just him. So I forget the lady he mentions, but again, that's what he's known for. That's really like, even when they promoted Superman, that's what they promoted, was the director who gave you Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's like, oh, and that's all you got for him. So, anyways, it's so easy to just go on a rant with this guy, uh, but all that to say that you know I feel like it's just James Gunn fans, and then maybe just real diehard DC fans that just, for better or for worse, they just love DC, right? Like they just love DC, love to see DC, and to them it's all good because it's just DC. So they don't really have I guess you could say, a care to actually have proper critique or proper validation. You know what I'm saying? For them, it's all validated because it's just DC. So like they're easy to please, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like they're uh, and even on maybe just they just love movies, right? There's those people too. Like I enjoyed it. Like they just like movies. Like they're not. And again, that's fine. I'm not saying you can't be that. I'm just trying to say that if we're gonna be honest, those were the only people, in my opinion, that gravitated towards this film, while the rest of us saw it for what it was, called it for what it was, and same thing with anything else he's putting out there. I mean, if I'm being honest, I haven't even watched Peacemaker, but I'm just it's what I'm when it comes to that, it's more so what I've heard, what I'm seeing online, people that I know. I know, again, like I said, I know people that like it, but I know a lot of people that don't. Same thing with the Creature Commandos, whatever. As a matter of fact, to my knowledge, that's probably like, out of everything that's came out of James Gunn's creative wheelhouse, I've heard that that's probably the best thing, which is not a good thing. That the animated thing that you've done is the best thing you're known for, or the best thing you've done so far. All that to say that when it comes to what could be the possible most near future acquisition of Warner Brothers, or Warner Brothers Discovery, possibly, right? Again, depending which route they go, whether it's Paramount, whether it's Netflix. And I'm going to stick to those two because right now those seem to be the strongest contenders at this moment. Because I even, like I said, I think I even uh, the yeah, not to go too more. I said what I said about what they've offered. Those seem to be the strongest contenders at the moment. And again, if you want to hear my thoughts on or somewhat of my thoughts on that, or a good portion of it, me and Sil have a conversation of that on his podcast, where we kind of just go back and forth, break it down, whatever. So yeah, DC needs course correction, in my opinion, and obviously the course correction, in my opinion, is go back to what worked, go back to what actually made you money, go back to that which not just made you money, but created such a buzz online that buzz still exists till this day. Like, you can't, there's no way you're looking at this it's just insane that Warner Brothers is just this stupid, but they are, unfortunately, and this is why they need to get bought out. You have movies that came out almost decade ago, not a decade ago, maybe more, right? The likes of Man of Steel, or as I always say, starting with the Dark Knight trilogy, right? What Nolan did, then going into like Man of Steel and that which comes after, right? Like Batman versus Superman, Zack Snyder's Justice League, David Ayer's Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, hell, throw Aquaman in there. I don't care. It is what it is. That is peak DC. Still to this day, that's the reality. That's the story here. That's the story here, right? Go back to that, right? And from what I see, there's this is why you can't go wrong either way, in my opinion. Whether it's Netflix or Paramount, there's pros and cons, but it depends on how these things go, right? Like, the reality is there is a connection there with Paramount and Zach that is worth noting, I should say. Let's see, I had it. There we go. Come on. Oh no, are we gonna open? There we go. Um, there is a connection. Well, let's actually just discuss the obvious with Netflix, right? The reality is Zach's already there, right? So if it almost makes sense, right? If Netflix acquires, if they get the acquisition they're looking for with the WBD or just the Warner Brothers, right? The studio and the streaming side of things, and Netflix is already or Zack Snyder's already in Netflix. That's like that seems like the most easiest like way to get back, the Snyderverse, right? As we like to call it. Um, let's see. Want to make sure. Oh, yo, shout out Manny right quick, or Manuel Estrada. Estrada, I see you, brother, on Facebook. Want to make sure I salute you, brother. Lalo Music, see you on IG. Appreciate you, brother. So again, all that to say that Zach being in Netflix seems like the most easiest way to get that back, right? Like, all right, cool, boom. That just seems to be the easiest way. My only issue there, as I said last time on Silsting, is just that I only hope that the moment they acquire, if they're the ones to get it, I just hope that what that means is that they're now trying to get in the lane of theatrical releases. Because if that's not the case, then it's like I'm kind of like, I'm not so sure if, for me personally, I'm suffice with just this idea of having everything just released on Netflix, right? But I say this, and it's like the obvious might be that's why they're making this purchase, right? I don't want to make it seem like, well, isn't it not obvious? Like, yeah, it seems obvious, right? But at the same time, like, I'm not going to pretend like I know this, right? Like, I don't know that for sure, right? I could only go based off of what Netflix has said in this past, right? Where what they believe their model is, right? And what they want to go forward with. That's what they've said. And they've proven that, right? Like, they stuck true to that, right? Like, a lot of good movies that are released on their platform, barely, none of them really see the theater, except the like select few that have, and unfortunately, because they're not Warner Brothers or any of these other studios that have deals and contracts and a strong foothold in with the theaters, right? With certain set theaters, right? So unfortunately, even the theatrical releases don't have I think the oomph or the push they need, and it's probably, I would assume, probably more money to do that for them. So it probably just never actually worked out for them profitable wise, to why they just didn't do that as strong, right? As strongly as I would have loved to see them do, but I understand why they didn't, if that's the case, right? Again, certain things I don't know. I'm just, a lot of it's based off of what I think and how I think this works. But again, like movies like Rebel Moon, I feel should have been a theatrical release. And this is coming from somebody who lives in the Midwest, who because I know there's people who, oh yeah, they live in LA, they live in, or like, they live in these places where I guess there are certain select theaters that Netflix has deals with, that they're able to go see these movies and things like that. And it's like, okay, yeah, cool for you, but there's not, and even if they have one in Chicago, it's not anywhere obvious that like I could have gone to go see it in theaters, which pisses me off because like I would have loved to see that movie in theater, Rebel Moon, as far as that's concerned, or even Zack Snyder's Justice League, right? Which I just, for those who didn't see, which again, actually, that's another aspect, the IMAX thing. I don't know if you guys all participated in that. I did see that there was an article where there was this, I guess you could say, awareness or recognition that a big, I should probably say what it is, right? I'm here babbling. IMAX put a post out there where they're like, if there's any movie you'd you can see or see in the future in IMAX, what would it be, right? So obviously, a lot of us went hard on Zack Snyder's Justice League, obviously, and I did it just because I've never seen it in theaters, and I would love to see it in theaters. And IMAX would be great to see that. And I hope that if this is a thing, right, like that they're actually willing to do, it'd be nice to see them actually push that all IMAXs all around. You know what I'm saying? If not or if not nationally or within the States, even globally, whatever. But even if it's just the States, I'd love to like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go see it in IMAX here in Chicago, whatever. But that was the thing. So okay. Like, why do I keep hearing that ding? I see now why. So where am I getting? Where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So yeah, as far as Netflix, that's kind of like where I'm just at with it. It's like I'm cool with it as long as it's like it's because we plan on going in heavy in theaters now going forward. Once that acquisition happens, then it's like, all right, cool. And then it, now they have the option of like having theatrical releases, and I would assume maybe even like physical copy releases, and I would assume that opens that up too, which would be a great thing where it's like they have theatrical and physical media now that they can do, and they still have the streaming thing they can do, and still do both if they want to, right? And that would be great, right? And then again, because Zach is there, you would think, I would hope that means like, they have their eyes set on Zach, finishing his thing with DC, the Snyderverse, as we like to call it, which we can get into what that means exactly. And we'll get there soon enough. Here's the thing, interestingly enough, there's still a connection with Zach even in the Paramount side of things, right? Because if you remember just a few minutes ago when I was talking about the Paramount deal, no, let's see if I can get it. Okay. Where was it? Hold on, I'm trying to find it. Okay. Oh my gosh. There we go. Right, because it says the Middle Eastern Sovereign Funds, whatever. Apollo and the Middle Eastern Sovereign. Now, I don't know the guy's exact name, so I'm not going to pretend like I do. But I just know that there's this connection between this guy who's already got, I guess you could say, the same guy who is in talks, or if not, there's already the dealer and it's already happening. It's just a matter of when that UFC movie, where he wants Zack Snyder to direct. And I want to say that even in a set interviews, there was the mention and the awareness of that if they did have some form of like acquisition or hold or shareholding or whatever, however that works, of owning Warner Brothers, and that they would for sure want Zach to come and to come back. If I'm correct, is what it was, or if not, that it was no. I think what it was is doing what DC, bringing them back to the point of where there is this actual competition, I guess you could say, on the likes of competing against Marvel in the big screen, you know, which again only really happened in a certain time period or era of DC. And it's that peak that I was talking about, starting with the Dark Knight trilogy and then going into what is the Snyderverse. You know, whether we just want to call his movies his little universe, which obviously by definition and technicalities is true, but also by technicality, the movies that are loosely connected somewhat have a place in his universe. Whether you want it or not, it just is what it is, right? Like if you don't want it, cool. I'm not saying I'm not telling you to accept it or to like, hey, take it. All I'm saying is like technically it kind of is, you know what I'm saying? Like they are loose connections, right? Which, in my opinion, I'm all for it. If it's that Zack Snyder's directing, I guess you could say the eventual team up between all these said movies, said characters, and all that, right? Moving parts. That would be dope to see. But anyways, back to the topic at hand. Um, there is a connection there. It's the whole point with Zach, this Saudi deal, and let's just keep it 100, man. The Saudis are going crazy, man. That Arab money, it's a thing, man. And like I'm here for it. If it helps bring forth that which I like, I'm for it, man. So again, good, better, best. Never let it rest. All right, and that's what I'm here for. That's all I'm trying to say. And honestly, either way it goes, if it brings forth the Snyderverse, then I'm here for it. But also, if it brings it forth in the form of theatrical release, that's what's important to me. Because, again, as someone who never saw Zack Snyder's Justice League in theater, but knows that I obviously would look great in a theater, it bothers me. It does bother me, especially because I know that I feel personally if they would have gone that route, they would have actually seen profit. But it is what it is. And again, I'm hoping IMAX still, if there was any true intention within the question that they asked on X, I would hope that it's that in good faith they actually are now going to see what they could do about that. My second choice, by the way, in that thing was Batman versus Superman because why not, right? Anyways, so between those two, it can go either way. For me personally, I lean more on. I'm going to say this. I'm just leaning more on that which will for sure benefit me theatrically. And that actually, how do you say, shows that they appreciate and admire Zach's work. The problem with Netflix for me when it comes to that is just I'm kind of not sure if that's where it stands. Again, like I said on on the Sills thing, I don't think that they're done with Zach. I don't think that they hate him or anything like that. It's obvious that since Dan Lynn's taken over, there's been a slight pause maybe in what they're willing to be aggressive in. It seems like his whole I guess formula moving forward is more of, I don't know, fiscal responsibility, I guess, right? Let's be fiscally responsible. Although again, they're still making this offer to acquire Warner Brothers. So this might change that whole thing. I don't know. Again, it depends. But maybe them acquiring Warner Brothers opens that up and allows them to be more aggressive again. Because again, in my opinion, Netflix is also still the best when it comes to even just, at least as far as the competitors in the bid, right? Let me say that, because if Amazon was in the talks in this, I'd probably lean on Amazon if I'm gonna be honest, because they've at least shown that they have a good model so far when it comes to theatrical release and still streaming things, right? And I think that they're partnered or they own MGM or something like that. So I know they got a deal there. Is my whole point. That's a strong. It's kind of a shame to see that they're not in this, honestly. But what I was going to say about Netflix that Amazon also does have, I think, in my opinion, is the ability to. They're not afraid to put content out there in any way, shape, or form. As you know, like pretty much they're not scared. They're not censoring things. Which is good when it comes to like letting the directors cook, which has been unfortunately Zack Snyder's uphill battle when he was in Warner Brothers, and even when he went to back to finish Zack Snyder's Justice League, because technically, for those who know, we were supposed to get Green Lantern, we didn't get him, so it's like that's a shame. Anyways, all that to say, that's why I do. In a way, I still I like Netflix for that regard as well. I'll say that, right? Like as far as like those that are in the bidding for the company, is like I know they're not afraid, in that regard. I would say, so that's a good look for Netflix as well when it comes to them being the ones that actually get to acquire Warner Brothers, or just Warner Brothers, I should say. But again, it's not to say that Paramount Plus wouldn't do that. Again, it's when you see what Paramount Plus, what Paramount is doing, they're putting out good movies out there too, right? So let me not make it seem like, Paramount shaky. But again, I just know Netflix for sure has been bold in that regard, right? Like, they have plenty to show for it, is I guess what I'm trying to say when it comes to not holding back with what they're put out there or restricting their directors and things of that nature. I will say maybe they're fiscally more responsible. I shouldn't say more responsible, but they're tight on their money right now, like on how they're spending for their projects. So maybe that's something to say. But as far as creativity is concerned, whether it's like rated R or not, it seems like Netflix wouldn't. They're the best in that regard, where like they're not going to be like, oh yeah, no, we don't like so and so killing, or we don't like this, we don't like whatever. They'd be the less to meddle in the affairs. I would say that's what I like about Netflix. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Not to say that I know that Paramount does that or not, or they have a reputation for that. Warner Brothers for sure does. So I don't know. But either way, right? That being said, now let's get to the last topic that I want to kind of just touch on before I hop off, and that's Zack Snyder going crazy on IG, fanning the flames, and this is what I mean. Like, there's just no doubt that Zack Snyder and his films do more for the culture, do more for the fans. It does more. He does more. The movies does more. Like, it just does more for even DC as a brand, right? This guy is going crazy right now on IG, right? And as me and Sil alluded to on his pod, and unfortunately it was the part of the recording that became corrupt. So you really didn't get much of our conversation, which is a shame because it was a really cool conversation and funny conversation that you really didn't even get. So, but obviously me and him were talking about how it seems like Zach is posting a lot of the nightmare sequences, or characters from the nightmare sequence. For those who don't know or are not sure what we're referring to, but you did see his movies, you should remember that in Batman versus Superman and in Zack Snyder's Justice League, there's these scenes that exist specifically through Bruce Wayne, through form of dream / vision, right? Or as Bruce Wayne calls it in the film, premonition, right? Almost like premonition, right? Where it's technically an alternate timeline that it does exist, where Superman obviously goes bad, or he goes rogue, or not rogue, he goes bad. He succumbs to the anti-life equation uh, because Lois dies. We know that now. We well, technically should know that from Batman vs Superman. Um, so there's this timeline that exists, right, where Darkseid comes, right, the villain you see at the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League, um, and apparently he wins. You know what I'm saying? And the very few heroes that escape and are still trying to make moves happen, whatever. It is what it is. Whatever. That's the nightmare sequence. Let me just say that. Slight note, which is interestingly enough, Vision via science/technology, Cyborg. Technically, I don't know if it's that he sees it. I would say it is that he sees it. Like he's given the vision slash, of that alternate timeline as well, right? Where it shows, Wonder Woman dead already. It shows that Darkseid kills Aquaman. It shows that it shows Superman holding Lois Lane burnt to crisp. I'm assuming by Darkseid's Omega beams. It shows that, right? So technically, that's also, I think, part of the nightmare sequence, I would say. But it would seem like the cool thing about what Zach's doing, I would say this, right? Is that personally, in my opinion, I don't think it's coincidence. I think we all can agree on that. There's no coincidence here. This man hopped on IG now when he could have hopped on IG a long time ago. Especially when we were fighting for the Snyder Cut initially, before we got Zack Snyder's Justice League. But instead, the man chose to just, fight the good fight with us, I guess you could say, via X, via Twitter, and then via Vero, which, yeah, still obviously created buzz. But let's just not pretend like him being on IG makes these things a lot easier, right? It's easier to like repost what he's, what I'm saying? Because he obviously has his following in Hollywood, all that, and in LA, the connection there. But then obviously the fans that now follow him too, we're all boosting and whatever, boom, boom. It's just a whole different beast now with this whole IG thing. But all that to say that it's not a coincidence. It's all in the timing of this Warner Brothers selling point, right? So it to me, it's not a coincidence. And now it could be because he's looking to, and I think again, this is why I say like to pretend like there's one specific boat here or one specific basket to put all our eggs in is so naive. Because the man clearly has something to gain either way this goes, is my whole point. And it's a win for him either way it goes. So to pretend like it has to be Netflix, or to pretend that it has to be Paramount, it could be either or, really. And honestly, it could be none of the two. And still, the reality is like what he's doing right now speaks volumes for what people are excited for. I think the impact that his movies / his version of DC has brought forth. That again, movies that, Man of Steel, over a decade already. If I'm saying that right, decade or century, I don't know. I think century, decade. I don't know. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. I'm like flat on sleep right now. But anyways, all that to say that just sticking with Netflix and Paramount, the reality is him going crazy, posting all these, again, a lot of these nightmare sequence characters, but even other shots too, that I think again is good to show that, look, this is like what people are excited for. Whether it's the Batman versus Superman shots, whether it's and again, it's not even just shots from the film. It's like it's like it's behind the scenes shots, like shots that he took with his own iPhone type stuff, or his own camera, you know. It's so cool. Is my whole point, right? Like the shot that he did of the Chloe, right? The Henry Cavill and Amy Adams, right? It looks like a selfie, right? Which I'm gonna assume was taken during or during the Justice League movie. So it's just and this is what people are excited for. You know what I mean? It's going crazy right now online. Especially on IG, back on X, right? Because of what he's posting on IG. But either way it goes, it's a sign for Netflix, Paramount to see. Oh yeah, no, like this guy still got it. There is a fan base for this still, and probably a more amped up fan base that is willing to like really go to bat for us and invest in this once acquisitions are made. Now, that being said, does that mean whoever acquires this means that Gunn is out? I don't know that for a fact. I don't know that. I would like that to be the case, to be honest. Hold on. I would like for that to be the case, but I don't know for sure. I don't know how those things work. Like, could it be because there's already contracts set and deals set for certain movies to be made that no matter who acquires it, these things still have to go through. So like as far as like the Green Lantern show and Swamp Thing, or not Swamp Thing, Clayface, which is another Swamp Thing, uh, and then like Supergirl, Man of Tomorrow, whatever. Do those things still go forward? Maybe, I don't know. I know what I'm saying. Like again, these are the things I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really that into these things like that. I get excited for these things because I'm just a fan of Zack Snyder and his work, and DC for sure as well. But merge the two together, and it's like two of my favorite things. Whatever. But again, whether that's Netflix or Paramount, it doesn't matter. Zack has a foothold in two of these things. So it's like it's great either way that goes, in my opinion. And it seems like, again, going back to that nightmare thing, we all kind of know that. And if I'm correct, maybe correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I could have sworn that the idea was always that the part 2 was the nightmare movie. I could be wrong there, but I feel like the part 2 to the Justice League trilogy, and then the Zack Snyder saga, is that that was supposed to be the nightmare movie, right? Which I again speaks on that, I think. But here was the joke. I don't know if it's gonna land the same way. Joke / possibility here, And the reason we even came to this is because what Sil pointed out that was interesting was that James Gunn came out saying that he's not trying to do the Justice League because it's already been done, like especially and more than anything very recently. Hence why he hasn't really stuck to doing Justice League. Why he called it the Justice Gang, and maybe he even called it that because there's technically already a Justice Society. Who knows? But all that to say that because he's already on record saying he's not trying to do that and not use the league, it still leaves an open window for then Zack Snyder to technically still do the Justice League, even if they coexist at the same time. Whether that's, again, in a world or reality where Warner Brothers is purchased, but again, because this is already greenlit, these things still move forward. But then whoever acquires it still says, well, we're still doing this though too, because technically this is not what you're doing over here. So there's room over here for the Justice League. It could be that, you know what I'm saying? The joke was that it would be funny that here we are and here I am, uh, you know, taking shots at James Gunn every chance I get. And it would be funny that it's technically James Gunn this whole time who purposely didn't use Henry Cavill as Superman, isn't using the League or Justice League because all in all, this whole entire time, it was his idea to always bring Zach back to use the very people he used for his Justice League. So hence why he wouldn't use Henry Cavill Superman, because he wants Zach to use Henry Cavill Superman for the Justice League. Um, and specifically because maybe it is Gunn's idea, and it could be this whole reason to why even Zach's doing this. There is a deal already happening where Gunn wants Zack Snyder to do the Nightmare movie. That would be the funny thing, the funny thing at the end of all this, if that was true. I don't know. I'm not saying that is the case. Probably, likely not. I don't know, but it would be funny, personally, in my opinion, if that was the case. And maybe if that was the case, I'd maybe ease off it, man, after the fact. But until then, it's still open season for him, and and his movies and his creations, his abominations, not like. But uh, it's activation time, as we call it. Zack Snyder's getting us activated. Um, I'm excited. Whether it's the Nightmare movie, whether it's him coming back, just in general, man. I mean, it's 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 really what DC needs. And it's sad that Warner Brothers just couldn't see that, because we'd be in a whole different alternate reality if that was the case. But unfortunately, we are in the one we are in, and here we are now, uh, hoping that either Netflix or Paramount or whoever comes in and buys them out to hopefully course correct. Um, and yeah, obviously, like I said, Netflix and Paramount right now are the stronger options at the moment. And Zach's affiliated to both, so I think either way that goes is good. Um, if it is that Warner or Zaslav holds off, no sells to nobody, the split still happens. At that point, and then it's still good for whoever is going to look. All that's going to do is make it easier to acquire Warner Brothers. I'll say that, and I say at that point it would be nice to see if Amazon takes a shot at it, because matter of fact, here's the thing. Even with Comcast, actually, I failed to say this part. If I'm correct, and correct me if I'm wrong, the Comcast Universal aspect there, I said Comcast NBC. Universal, I think, is actually Comcast Universal is what it is. But that in itself also would be a good move if they even. But unfortunately, from what it looks like, they're not. They're like they're staying relevant, but they're not as relevant. I guess it seems like they are in third place. It would appear, or if there is a top, let's just say if the tabloids are true, it would seem it's Netflix, Paramount, and Skydance. The way I see it, it's actually more like Netflix and Skydance, or Paramount Skydance, are actually, because again, they're still offering to buy all of it, right? Which means like we're taking even the debt you have. That's something to not glossed over. Um, but for sure, Comcast is under that. Like they're clearly not on the. They're not offering on the same level. It seems like it would seem like maybe it's all a ruse. Maybe they are. Who knows? But if that is the case, let's say they acquire it. If I'm correct, there's the Christopher Nolan connection there, and we know Nolan and Snyder are boys, and I'm sure he would be like, "Hey, look, this is the move here." Yeah. So there's a move even there to be had. Um, if I'm correct, then the if like I said, if it's the split that happens, I think that actually strengthens the possibility for Netflix, both Netflix and Comcast, to make their acquisition of Warner Brothers. Decide that they're interested in. And I think that actually that should open it up even for other bidders and competitors. Which again, I'd like to see Amazon throw their hat in the ring because I think they're a good, from what it seems like, company to acquire it. Ben Affleck's there, so I think that helps greenlight the Batfleck movie. And obviously, again, Affleck loves Zack Snyder. If there's any way to make that, it would happen there too. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why, again, I repeat, it's good, better, best in any scenario, man. Like, because everything I just mentioned, you know what I'm saying? Like, there is no wrong purchase here, I guess. What we're really, I guess, discussing here is whether or not it goes through and we see the change happening sooner rather than later, or whether this has to extend into the new year once the split happens, and then see what happens after the fact. But either way, good, better, best. Never let it rest. I'm out of here, guys. I got to get back to my life. That being said, peace out. Much love. God bless. We're out of here.
I want you to stand up tall and proud. I want you to speak up clear and loud. Brown baby.
Pensando cómo lo puedo lograr, en cómo lo puedo hacer, cómo cuido a mi mamá y también a mi bebé. Solo tengo que josear y eso ya me lo sé. Hay días que despierto sin ánimo, pero me tengo que motivar, que nadie te va a ayudar, que no lo vaya a lograr. Eso dicen los demás, pa'l carajo los demás, que aquí pues se les va a enseñar. Aquí les caigo y les traigo un talento que lo dejan bien pálido. Si se prendieron, algunos dijeron que estos son pa' los que sí tienen talento. De verdad, se jodió todo porque yo nunca voy a parar de josear. Ya, pero un día, ojalá yo con ganar doble A. Dile a Mike Tower que me tire para hacer un collab. Sin pijama, Nati, que me invite a la casa. Ojalá, ojalá. Ja, ja. Te era algo para sentirme fiebre. El meme. Ahora dejo que el divino Vega que lo parta. Vega.
From the past to the present to the future, been fucking the game up, different angles, Kama Sutra. From handguns to machine guns, flamethrowers to bazookas, goes down in these streets to inside your computer. Your streets made of tears, Reese's fans like Medusa. Y'all crying in the comment section, shout out Brett Cooper. We're champions, you're cheaters, we're winners, you're losers. When I take off, I'm gone, if you don't keep up, I'll lose ya. I've been contemplating and changing my name to Il Divino. What is that? Italiano, Latino, Boston born, Chicago raised. My roots are in Puerto Rico, y la Boricua, I'm the last cacique de lo taíno. I transcended from Rex to Regal. Say it's my ego, see how fast you get introduced to my desert eagle. See, nice as Galito, but I know my rights, I'm keeping it legal. Once you level up, gotta watch how they treat you. Fauci, ouchie, I'm afraid of no needle, but don't lie if you a man of the people. See, I can allow you to see me, but I am not see-through, transparent and honest for you to know that I speak truth, will others be deceitful. A bunch of these clucks now remind me of Smeagol. Whenever your vice can lead you to evil, no cap, I am no saint, but I will not deceive you, never mislead you. Don't ever get it twisted though, I do not need you. See, like Batman, I work best alone. I stayed loaded like Rambo, Sylvester Stallone. It's nothing when I'm gone, man, easy phone home. It's just like Jay-Z and Kanye, return of the throne. It's the rise of the empire, attacking the clones. While everyone's sheep now, I am the goat. I believe in myself now, if nobody won't. There's no need to lie, cause I know that you don't. I just hope you got my rise of the empire, attack of the clones line. You know, as the empire rises, we're witnessing the fall of the republic. Everybody that just follows suit is a bunch of sheep, just like the clones doing what they told. Just know who Palpatine is though, you know? Shout out Joey B. From Chicago to Boston, Midwest to the East Coast, and this island in the Caribbean known as Puerto Rico is why the bars are lethal. Got me going beast mode in this game called life. You better know some cheat codes. Il Divino's back, someone let the streets know. 6 shots for the folks and 5 shots for my peoples. I think it's high time we all have a sit down. Can we all agree the game is gone to shit now? Like the fall of Rome, the death of Romulus, history repeating itself if you know it's obvious. If you had your head inside of a book instead of binoculars, you'd be able to see without a pair of binoculars. Our tax dollars being spent towards the damn omnibus, but the rich stay rich, commoners remain commoners. The tentacles and everything like a damn octopus. Mass media, mass hysteria, how they control the populace. Cash rules everything around me, and on every dollar bill it's printed in God we trust. Yeah, everyone lives in fear around me. The truth will set you free. Quick shout out to Elon Musk. Cash rules everything around me, and on every dollar bill it's printed in God we trust. Yeah, everyone lives in fear around me. The truth will set you free. Quick shout out to Elon Musk. Living in this shy, can't let them catch me snoozing. To be shooting just for the amusement. I refuse to be a victim, never be a loose end. When your city is a war zone, who gives a fuck about Putin? And there ain't nothing safe about the safety act. There's more safety in being strapped. They should choose you, shoot back. Those odds are better than getting caught laying on your back. Don't believe me, check the stats. I'm just bringing you the facts. With my hand on the Bible, I swear to rap the truth. My mighty God, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. My people perish for lack of knowledge. My knowledge I share with you. There's nothing we can't accomplish. One head ain't better than two. That's the purpose of a democratic republic. Discussion on every subject, in truth, logic, and reason, till we reach an agreement. A nation under God is how the states united. Got out of the picture, look how gradually we divided. Cash rules everything around me, and on every dollar bill it's printed in God we trust. Yeah, everyone lives in fear around me. The truth will set you free. Quick shout out to Elon Musk. Cash rules everything around me, and on every dollar bill it's printed in God we trust. Yeah, everyone lives in fear around me. The truth will set you free. Quick shout out to Elon Musk.
Arrogance is the primary ingredient that will make you assume you can take action without God. Arrogance. That's actually what it is. You think you got this, and you